mostly the new update is doing a real good job at staying right between the lines. It's not wobbling back and forth at all anymore. The lines pop up real soon. This is a really hard turn that the car's never been able to take before, so it'll be interesting to see how it does. Just fine on that. There's another pretty sharp turn that it always goes over the lines. Let's see how it does. No, it stayed right between the lines. Stayed right between the lines again. So definitely doing a better job of staying between the lines, like Autopilot 2 has never been able to before. It used to swerve at the top of the hill every single time. Didn't swerve at all that time. So definitely they have finally figured out Autopilot. It's driving better than Autopilot 1, finally. It sees the lines extremely well, sees where the road should be. It's staying rock stable without any wobble back and forth. And it took even those sharp turns without any difficulty. Still asks me to touch the wheel every few minutes. If I push the gas at all, then it asks me to touch the wheel immediately. But if I don't, and I just let the car drive, then it's been letting me do this entire road without actually touching the wheel ever. Okay, so now it's taxing me to touch the wheel again. But not as much as some people have been saying. So here the speed limit slows down to 25, and it's never slowed down before, so it'll be interesting to see if it reads the speed limit sign and slows down, or whether it won't. Nah. Oh yeah, it did. So the speed limit definitely came down to 25, and it slowed me down to 30, which is very slow, but at least it did it. So Autopilot 2 has never driven on this road successfully because there's no right-sided line, so it would always wobble off into the grass. It is driving absolutely perfect on this one right now. It's not going into the grass, it's not running into the trash cans at the side of the road. Didn't like that truck turning in front of me there. It's asking me to hit the wheel again. But essentially it's driving as straight as can be. It went across those tracks even though there was no lines. And it's driving along here just fine even though there's no lines. The speed limit is 25, so it's making me go 30, which is painful on these little country roads where nobody is. Here's an interesting little tunnel that used to freak out Autopilot. See how it does here. Didn't swerve into the wall and didn't go into the other people's lane at all, just stayed rock stable right down. Coming up to a stop sign and definitely not reading any stop signs yet. So I'll have to turn it off and let the car come to a stop. So no lines here, and the car's not trying to self-drive at all. It's not reading anything. Not reading the stop sign. So here it did pick up lines, but there's there's a red light up ahead and it's not going to read that, so I'll have to stop. Still very stable driving through town, staying right between the lines. Nice and smooth when it's following a car. It doesn't rev up and stop and rev up and stop like Autopilot 2 used to. It's much more similar to Autopilot 1 now. Was kind of a rough stop though. Didn't stop smoothly the way Autopilot 1 still, I think, stops smoother than Autopilot 2. It's asking me to touch the wheel again. So speed limit was 55 there, but it didn't automatically go up like it should. So it stayed going at 40 miles an hour. So I had to make it go up. So speed limit's 55 miles per hour here. So the car goes along at 60. Doing just fine. Definitely no ping-ponging, staying right between the two lines. Very comfortable. So this guy's turning and he's slowing down a little bit, and it's keeping my distance pretty well right now. It's still smooth right now. And a kind of a rough stop. Instead of keep going right around him the way a normal person was, it definitely kind of came to a rough stop there. But now it's speeding back up nicely. Overall, it's extremely smooth. There's definitely no more wobble back and forth. It's rock stable between the two lines. It looks rock stable. You know, the lines aren't wobbling at all. The cars between them, and it's doing it exactly the way a person would drive. At the top of those little hills, it no longer wobbles the way it always used to. pretty sharp turn. Let's see if it can do it. Yeah, it did it just fine right between the lines. It used to always wobble there at the bottom of that dip, and it definitely used to always waddle at the top of this hill. And up it stayed absolutely stable. It's a real super narrow road. Autopilot 1 still has a hard time on this road. Autopilot 2 sees the edges just fine. Doesn't have any problems. Even though there's no line to the right side at all, just a bunch of rocks. But it's definitely driving right down the middle of where you can imagine the road should be. Yeah, it always wobbled to the top of that hill. It didn't wobble at all this time. Rock stable. Definitely don't have to hold the wheel all the time anymore the way I always used to. The speed limit along here is 40. It doesn't say that there is a speed limit along here, even though there's several 40-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. So it's guessing 45. It kind of defaults to 45. Here's another sharp turn that Autopilot 1 never used to be able to take, and Autopilot 2 did it tentatively in the past, and this time it did it just fine. So now, even though there's no 35-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, the car says it's 35. There's a perfectly good 40-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, and the car still says 35. So it's definitely not reading speed limit signs. And I have sent in 1,000 bug reports and emails to Tesla to try to get them to switch it, but they never